Hello, everybody, and welcome to Coffee Talk on the Pitcher List Podcast Network. Well, they call me Trevor Hooth, probably mostly because that's my name, and I am joined by Nate Kosher. Nate, how you doing?
I'm doing well. Still surprised by the news you just broke to me that Evan Carter's back.
Wow, we are jumping
That's
right
big
in. I mean,
stuff.
we always
I'm
jump right in
excited.
anyway, but let's jump right. Okay, let's talk Evan Carter. Why are you excited about Evan Carter?
Well, so remember his postseason, 2023 postseason. He was clutch for the Rangers. They won the World Series, and I
Hmm.
thought going into the last year, I well, not just me. A lot of people thought he was going to blow up. Then he got hurt. He struggled. He's been down in the minors. And I've been holding him on one of my teams. I think probably a lot of people have been holding him, and he's back, which is good. Hopefully, you didn't cut him.
Yeah. Have you been paying attention to him in the minors at all?
Not this year.
It's been kind of a struggle. He started off really, really slow, and it hasn't really
Okay.
picked up. He's hitting 221, or he was hitting 221 in AAA, 25% strikeout rate. He did walk, 14% clip, but worth a 96 WRC plus, hit 3 home runs, stole 6 bases. So he still is doing some stuff, but
Okay.
it hasn't been the greatest showing for him, all in all. Again, he started off a lot slower, so he probably has picked things up a little bit lately, but he hasn't been playing that well in AAA, and that's giving me pause with
So I
what is
should
he
not be
going to do.
excited.
That's not what I'm saying. We all choose our own paths in life, Nate. But I am saying that, as of as late as April 24th, he was hitting 180. So he did bring it up a little bit, got up to like 235 by the end of April, and then started off May by going 1 for 9, I think, and that one was a home run. But he just hasn't been hitting that well or as well as you would like for him in AAA for him to be like for me to be like, oh yeah, let's go get Evan Carter right now.
And the back issue is a little worrisome.
Mhm.
Um, I think that last year that slowed him down more than expected, and it's been a slower recovery. But he was so good, and toward the end of 2023, that
Mhm.
I hope he comes back, and definitely not ready to give up on him yet.
No,
But
not at all.
he let's see what he can do. Hopefully it's at least where he's playing every day. He's good enough, but we'll see.
That's kind of where it's at, right? You got to see. You don't want to give up on him. You just need to see where he's at. But his performance in AAA doesn't give me a whole lot of excitement for him coming back into the MLB ranks right
Right.
now. So that's just me. I mean, you
Yeah,
can be
and he's
excited as you want.
I think it well in a redraft league, he's most likely available. I was talking in the dynasty league where I'm holding on to him. So I think in a redraft league, yeah, you'd want to wait, see what you
Mhm.
have. You don't have to pick him up right now.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Absolutely. And it's kind of weird of me to be slow to think about an injury prone player because Royce Lewis is also coming back, and I'm super excited about that.
That's funny.
I
We're
don't even
reversed then on these two.
I don't even roster Royce Lewis anywhere. I just think he's fun for baseball, and I am happy he's coming back. I hope he can stay healthy.
That's yeah, I know. I was thinking about this earlier, and when he has been healthy, he's been unreal
Mhm.
as far as power and productivity. But because of the injuries, he might be floating around. He might be on a roster. But what I was thinking is the best case scenario, if you have Royce Lewis, is for him to come back strong for 1 or 2 weeks, and you sell him high, and you get a good return. That's how I'd handle Royce Lewis.
I
I
think
think
best
he's
case
gonna
is
get hurt again, Trevor.
I think best case is he comes back slow. You buy low, being like, oh, he's always hurt. He's not doing great, and then he catches fire and turns into Royce Lewis.
Well, that's the flip side. Yeah, I mean, if you look at I have it last his last 2 seasons pulled up. So he played 58 games in 2023, but in those 58 games had 15 home runs and 52 ribbies, and it hit 309. Last year, 82 games, 16 home runs, 47 ribbies, only hit 233. So it's probably somewhere in the middle as far as the batting average goes, but that's legit power. He'll give you some steals. Um, I mean, if he can stay healthy, yeah, he's an awesome fantasy player, but you have to figure out how you want to handle that strategically.
Yeah, and I think that's the difference for me between Carter and Lewis is that there is more of a track record of Lewis being able to be productive for your lineup than there is for Evan Carter. So I understand the excitement behind Evan Carter, and I would love for Evan Carter to be, well, Evan Carter, the one that we all want him to be. I
Yeah.
just, yeah, I need to see it. I guess I need to see it for a longer extended period of time.
Yeah, Lewis has done that, and he was good in the playoffs
Hmm.
when the Twins were there 2 years ago. So, yeah, I mean, you wanna pick him up if he's out there. I would say pick him up and then decide later what you're gonna do, but, the Twins
Very
need
true.
help. The Twins need help.
Very true. Very true. So those are our two main news stories that we want to talk about in terms of what's brewing around the league. Now, here on Coffee Talk, our wonderful dedicated listeners know that we like to do a segment called Defend Yourself. I'm the only one who says it like that. But in that segment, we defend the fantasy trades that we make, which are sometimes fun, sometimes not that fun. I traded Keegan Aiken for $15 a fab. Not that fun, right? That was after Matt.
Comebacks and bite us
Well,
sometimes.
yeah, that's when Matt Brash came back. But the thing is, what we want to do is kind of a defend yourself in hindsight of Major League Baseball teams. We're going to look back at some trades that have happened over the last few years, dating back to the 2022 trade deadline. And our goal is to basically treat it like a defend yourself. We want to talk about it. We want to see what went well. Did this work out? And these are only trades that have now, have prospects that have turned fantasy relevant in some way. So I think, Nate, the best way for us to do this, we've listed off a bunch of trades. No one's going to be surprised by what trade we're bringing up, but
Yep.
between Nate and I. So I think the best way to do this is for us to just go back and forth. We'll pull out a trade, we'll talk about it, and then we will go through a defend yourself cycle. So I am going to kick things off with one of the bigger trades from last year's trade deadline, and that is the Jazz Chisholm to New York trade. And the only reason I'm doing this is because we for sure we're going to talk about Augustin Ramirez anyway. So that trade was Jazz Chisholm for Augustin Ramirez, Jared Cerna, and Abraham uh forgetting his last name, Abraham Ramirez. And so two of them have not debuted yet. Jared Cerna is on the 40-man roster. He's in double A currently. Last I checked, hitting like 230-ish. Has the potential to be a decent bench piece in the majors by my measure.
Mhm.
Also has maybe the potential to steal you some bases and hit you a little bit of home runs and just be one of those guys. But other than Ramirez and Augustin Ramirez, and it's Abraham Gutierrez. I'm gonna have to look that up. I'm so sorry, but between Augustin Ramirez and Jazz Chisholm,
We
we
know
do
the big
have two
names.
players. We do have two players in
Yes.
the majors.
Yeah, and, thinking about this one, well, Ramirez, we talked about him last week,
Hmm.
was blazing hot. He has already come down to earth a little bit.
Did hit a
We
3-run homer as a pinch hitter in today's Monday's game.
Oh, there we go. See, I had not heard that. But
Got to
as we
got to check
said,
Twitter more.
I needed to get caught up before this episode. As we said, of course, he was due to come down some. Still a great player, but could this be the rare trade that worked for both teams? Um, I might argue this one was good for both of them, as depending, where those franchises are at.
Maybe. I would argue that they made this move to win a World Series, and if they don't, then the move probably fails for the Yankees.
And Chisholm is now out again. Speaking of injuries, he's out
Hmm.
again 4 to 6 weeks.
Hmm.
I don't know if you saw that. So
I did, yeah. That's a true statement.
that that's part of it too. He's been injury prone, but I think he brings a lot to the Yankees. He's sort of been their catalyst, high
Hmm.
energy, uh, has been a good fit in New York. From a fantasy perspective, Jazz is still the better fantasy player, but at a catcher position, Augustin Ramirez could be among the elite,
Hmm.
I would say, long term.
And, when we're defending yourselves for these 2024 trades, it's gonna be a lot less cut and dry than when we go back to, like, 2022 for a trade, for example. And so we don't know what Cerner's gonna do. It is Abraham Gutierrez. We don't know what he's gonna do with his career, but we do know that there are 2 guys in the majors right now, and Ramirez has been a lot of fun since getting there.
Yeah, I totally agree. And yeah, I'm not saying give up on him. I just knew he'd slow down a little bit, but I think the power's real, the speed, like the willingness to steal the bases that we talked
Mhm.
about. I think that just raises him up a few notches, and he'll probably be a top 10 catcher for sure.
He's got that potential, absolutely, and the only question left, Nate, is, are you going to go to the 2022 trade? You know the one.
Yeah, okay, let's do it.
You don't have to, I'm just asking if that's the
Well,
one you're going for.
we need to talk about it. You know what? I'll do a different one first. Different one first.
Okay, well, then
Okay,
I'm
because
choosing it next.
you can do that one. I'll do another one from last year because there was someone specific I wanted to talk about this week. Even before we figured out we were doing uh the trade discussion, and that's the key piece was Tommy Edman um at in once again the 2024 trade deadline, because
God, that was a weird trade, sorry.
I'm gonna pull that up here.
That was a
Okay.
that was a weird trade all around for everyone.
It is a weird trade. So the Dodgers traded Miguel Vargas, Jarrell Perez, and Alexander Albertus. The last two were ranked LA's top 30 prospects. Vargas was a former highly thought of prospect who had sort of dropped in value last season. Um, and they got Tommy Edman and Oliver Gonzalez from the Cardinals, and then Michael Kopech from the White Sox. So it was a three-team trade. I should have said that from the beginning. So
I'm
Tommy
sure we
Edman,
all remember it.
yes, Tommy Edman on fire this season, but now he
Power
also
hitting Tommy Edman. That's Mr.
power
Power hitting
slugger.
Tommy Edman to you.
Yes, he just got hurt as we've been unfortunately talking about these injuries, but he's been crazy output. Kopech was good in last year's postseason, but is also injury prone. But the specific person I want to talk about is Miguel Vargas. So, as I said, former highly thought of prospect for the um, Dodgers, sent to
Dodgers.
Chicago, and coming into this season, I was reading about, sounds like the White Sox are going to give Vargas a chance to play every day at third base. It's his position to lose, basically. Um, and then they have tweaked his batting stance within the last couple weeks. So he's still, I'm pulling up my phone because I saved a screenshot of a stat, but he still had been doing really bad, really poorly to start the season. But then this is last Friday. Miguel Vargas in his last 9 games, 13 hits, 394 batting average, 459 on base percentage, 4 strikeouts and 37 plate appearances, and he's knocked a couple home runs now. So it seems like perhaps he might be figuring it out with this batting stance change, and he might be one of these post type sleepers that we talk about. And I picked him up for basically nothing because I needed a third baseman. So I'm hoping that's the case, but good to see someone easily forgotten in that trade. But I think he may be turning a corner right now.
Yeah, so I've talked about Vargas a lot on First Pitch podcast because he went on a hit streak. He's went on a hot streak for, the last couple weeks, it seems
Couple
like.
weeks, yeah.
And I'd also looked into trying to buy low here, and one thing that I learned is that even when he wasn't hitting well production wise, his exit velocities were still on the whole better than last year. So it
Mm,
seemed like there's a little bit more underlying. I mean, they're
sure.
not they weren't anything crazy, but they were improved. So it seems like there's still some underlying stuff saying Miguel Vargas can still hit. There's just something, It's just a matter of waiting, and he's gone on this great streak lately. So I am with you. I do like Miguel Vargas a little bit. Do I think that he's this all-world prospect that people thought he was at one point? No, I never really thought that. But
Yeah, probably not.
I do think that I didn't even think it when other people thought he was. I just couldn't see it. But I do think he is pretty talented and could be a decent third baseman, especially if he's going to be hitting it the way that he has been.
Yeah, and so I went back and looked over his last. So Sid's April 20th, over the last 13 games, he's hit safely in.
Many of
Let's
them.
see. Yeah, only 2 games he did not hit safely in over that
Mhm.
time. Couple of home runs, 5, 6 RBI, and he gets on base. He's been getting on base too. So I was just surprised
Cue the
when
Billy
that.
Bean gif.
Yeah, right, exactly. When he popped up, when that stat popped up, I didn't realize he had been doing that good, and it made me think about, oh, I should, I remembered him with the Dodgers, and it's funny we talk about this trade now because maybe the White Sox have something. I mean, they were, taking a chance. One of those people who was going to get an opportunity, and he's making the most of it. Um,
I
and
still
I
think the
didn't.
Dodgers win that trade.
Yeah, I didn't mention also the Cardinals got Eric Fedde and Tommy Pham, who played the rest of the season, but he's gone. I agree. I think the Dodgers still won the trade,
Good for the
even
Cardinals.
even with Kopech injury and whatever.
That feels like for the Cardinals, like a we're just happy to be involved kind of thing.
Yeah,
I mean,
they haven't. The Cardinals were for so many years were like the franchise, but they haven't had the hot streak in the last few
yeah,
years.
that's a conversation for a different day.
It is.
Today we
It
are
is.
talking trades, and I don't know if we have enough time to get to the big one, but we're going to try to do it anyway. Back in 2022, this is like the trade that sparked it all. Honestly, um,
Yeah, this is
Juan,
landmark.
Juan Soto and Josh Bell go from the Nationals to the Padres, and the Padres send Luke Voit, Mackenzie Gore, C.J. Abrams, James Wood, Robert Hassel III, and Jarlene Susana. And Susana is currently climbing up prospect ranks because he throws triple digits regularly as a starter and has nasty, nasty, nasty stuff. I think he's in Double A right now. Hassel is on the 40-man roster, has some speed, has not been hitting great. I think his nickname coming out of the draft was Bobby Barrels because he had a really good hit tool and he was supposed to be able to, put up high averages and stuff. That has not been the case. But outside of that, when you get James Wood and CJ Abrams and Mackenzie Gore, you're doing pretty good.
Yeah, and what's funny, I went back and found the MLB story breaking that trade down. At the time, Hassel was the Padres' top prospect, number one overall prospect in baseball. So he was actually the jewel of that trade among the prospects, the highest ranked prospect, and actually has done the least.
He's currently
Just
he's hitting 293. He's hitting 293 with 7 steals in AAA right now, but he's kind of, I mean, he was hitting 241 last year before he hit 221. I mean, you're just, you know.
Abrams, Gore, and James Wood could all be all stars.
And welcome back to Coffee Talk on the Pitcher List Podcast Network. My name is Trevor Hooth. Nate Kosher's with me, and we are revisiting deadline deals because we just love trades. We love them. Fantasy, real life, trades are fun. They just are. Everyone looks forward to them, right?
It's probably the best part of playing fantasy, other than like the draft.
So that's true. Even better than the draft sometimes because I play in mostly dynasty leagues, so I don't really get much of a draft other than first year player drafts. Either way, we were talking the Juan Soto trade. We've broken down all the parts in it. I mean, Juan Soto is obviously now not on the Padres anymore. They had him for a few years and now he's elsewhere. So, how do you feel like the Padres came out of that?
Yeah, that's a good question. I mean, when you look at it on the surface, even at the time, we knew Juan Soto was that good of player.
Mhm.
the Padres probably never thought they would trade him again or lose him. So looking back, yeah, they probably lost. They obviously lost the trade, but at the time, you're getting a generational player who you probably would expect to be there long term. But they actually are doing pretty good without him. So it's in a weird way they lost all those prospects and Juan Soto. Obviously, a huge miss not to keep him around, and all the
Mhm.
prospects panned out. But they would almost have the Dodgers problem, I think, of where would they play all these guys?
Good problem to have.
Yeah, I mean it's a good problem, and it's surprising Juan Soto has been on so many different teams because he's so good.
Right. Absolutely. So that's the big trade, right? That's like the whoo, that trade happened. We lived through that
It's
trade.
like a Hall of Fame trade.
It's a crazy trade, and it's just working out for the Nationals in such a big way. I there was so much drama beforehand too, if you remember. Like they didn't. There's something about a plane and the home run derby, and they didn't fly him back. Like there was just so much drama around it.
Well, Mackenzie
Leading up
Gore,
to it.
he looks like an ace now. James Wood is legit. So, yeah, I mean, almost you rarely have every prospect hit in one of these deals.
Yeah, and we still have to see about Hassel and Susanna, and oh gosh, James Wood, he just hits the ball hard. Just it's insane. I believe it's your turn unless you want me to go again, Nate.
No, let's pull one of these up here. Okay. How about another one from last season? Oh, actually, I take that back. This may have been 2023. Um, Rays acquire Aaron Savali from the Guardians for Kyle Manzardo.
Yeah, I
So
was just looking at that one.
that's a fun one because Savali, uh, he sort of bounced back last season,
Mhm.
and I think now he's hurt again. We've most of these people we've talked about they're injured, but um,
Welcome to baseball.
I guess so. But Manzardo, he has been the power has been there. He was good in last year's postseason once again. Similar to Evan Carter, how we are talking about, but he was postseason hero in his rookie season. He hit 5 home runs. This year he has 8 home runs, 20 RBIs, and he's hitting 219. So I think, and it's pretty. This is a pretty simple 1-for-1. A
Mhm.
veteran player, um, a team wanting pitching help, traded for a prospect. Pretty easy to break down. Something you might even see in a fantasy league, right? For a team, two teams going different ways, maybe in a dynasty league. But I think at the end of the day, the Guardians still won this because I still have some big hopes for Manzardo. He's never going to hit for high average. He's going to strike out a lot, but the power is definitely there. And I mean, Savali is a middle of the rotation arm when he's healthy. I mean, he was good with the Brewers last year, but he's not going to blow you away. My take would be the Guardians won that trade.
Yeah, I guess that would make the most
You
sense.
know,
I'm not the biggest Manzardo guy, but you're looking to low average, you're looking at power, but the good news is he's walking at a 13.5% clip right now, and it's kind of I don't want to put him on the same level because he's not on the same level, but I'm kind of looking at him, and if I trust him the same way I'm looking at Spencer Torkelson, and if I trust Spencer Torkelson,
hmm
you're looking at is he going to walk that way? He still provides something to you if he slumps, and you know power guy, low average, but you need the walk rates, and he does have a good walk rate. So for fantasy purposes, yeah, I mean Kyle Manzardo's a solid option. It kind of reminds me just that one for one player or prospect for pitcher. It reminds me of a trade that the Diamondbacks made. It's in my mind will always be the pitcher for prospect one for one. And that was the first time that Jazz Chisholm got traded. Do you remember who the
Oh,
Diamondbacks got?
yeah, this is a good one. Zach Gallen.
Yeah, that was a while ago, but yeah, Zach Gallen for Jazz Chisholm. That turned out to be really fun for both sides. Um, yeah,
It's funny. Jazz Chisholm has been in the two trades where we think actually it worked out for both teams, but Yeah, Gallen. I mean, he's been the ace in Arizona.
So here's my
That's a good
question.
one.
Here's my question.
Yes.
The Marlins got Zach Gallen in an earlier trade with what organization?
Oh man, I don't
This is
think
where
I
being a
know that.
prospect nerd. This is where being a prospect nerd comes in handy because I just have this stuff on tap.
Yeah, I
I
don't.
shouldn't.
I don't know.
Yeah, I should have other stuff, but I forgot all that, so I could remember the original team of Zach Gallen.
I know he went to University of North Carolina, but I
He
don't
did.
remember his original team.
His original team was the St. Louis Cardinals, who sent him along with Sandy Alcantara and
Oh wow.
one other player, maybe two other players, and I'm forgetting. Oh, Magneuris Sierra was in this trade as well. I thought Mags was going to be amazing, and that was to acquire Marcell Ozuna.
Okay.
Can't remember because I can't remember if it was 3 or 4. I get it confused because when the Brewers got Yelich, they sent 3 or 4. And
Yeah.
anyway, doesn't matter.
Some
But
big names
that,
there.
yeah, well, the Yelich one didn't turn out at all. I mean, that was like Lewis Brinson was the key piece to that. Monty Harrison was in that one. Uh, Isan Diaz was in that one. Anyway, I should know other
Ouch.
stuff, but I don't know that stuff. I know this stuff. The the other trade, the next trade that I'm going to bring up is from 2022 because I think this is a fun one right now. The Astros acquired catcher Christian Vasquez, and they sent to the Red Sox and Manuel Valdez, who's currently on the Pirates, and Wilyer Abreu, who's currently hitting 394 with 7 home runs and a 15 or 16% walk rate, rather, and is obviously an extremely good defender coming off a Gold Glove year.
Yeah, that his stock coming into the season. If you had taken Abreu, you have to be happy with yourself. I mean, he couldn't have been drafted that high, but for what the value he's producing right now, yeah, he's been good. Some
Really good.
speed too, right?
Yeah, I think 4 steals this year. Had 8 last year, so not incredible, but he's not going to get you 0 steals.
Yeah, and I know last year, let's see, what was it? 15 home runs, 58 RBIs. Um, and you said they traded away
Christian
Chris
Vasquez.
as the catcher. Yeah, who's now with the Twins, who is a pretty good hitter for a catcher, but he's he's splitting time. He's not even like, the everyday guy. So
But if
that
Abreu starts hitting and he's a Gold Glover, I mean, you hate that. I mean, the way he's going right now, you hate it. You hate it.
yeah, I mean, yeah. The the Red Sox won that one.
Oh, I just remembered the other piece coming from the Brewers to the Marlins in the Yelich trade was Jordan Yamamoto. So they sent 4, Cardinals sent 3. Sorry, that was going to bug me, but I got there.
Good, good. Now you can
Speaking of trades
sleep
we
tonight.
weren't talking about,
You can sleep tonight. No, Abreu has been good. Um, or I mean, Arroyo isn't. He's an okay player, but it's already Abreu's already surpassed the value. And he's
Vasquez, you
only.
mean?
Yeah, sorry,
Yeah.
Vasquez. He's just gonna
It's
keep
just
going up.
giving away some of the other trades we're going to talk about.
Sorry.
Come on. Have
All
some
right.
decorum.
So is this now? It's me.
It's you.
Back to me.
No pressure.
Okay, let's go back and look at last season. Well, this is the main one
Mhm.
actually that made me start thinking about all of this.
That's true. I
Um,
said it was the SOTO one, but that was the first one I brought up.
that's our Hall of Fame trade. But the trade from last season that made me think about looking back at some of these trades is the Kyle Stowers Orioles Marlins trade.
Yeah.
Um, and the reason that made me think of it, Stowers has been on fire, making this trade look bad for the Orioles, really potentially really bad for the Orioles. So the trade was Trevor Rogers from the Marlins to the Orioles for Connor Norby. At the time, was the Orioles' number 5 ranked prospect, and Kyle Stowers. Um, Norby had just spent the season at AAA, and I don't think he had not made his major league debut with the Orioles.
He had.
He had? Okay. I could not
Yes.
remember if he had or not. So
Very briefly, but he had, yes.
so not much time. But the Orioles making the postseason run, needing more help with their pitching staff, which we've talked about. It's still probably a problem for them. You'd think, oh, Norby, he has been the key piece. Well, he's only hitting 222 with 1 home run this year. I don't think the
Did
ship
get
has
hurt.
sailed.
We're talking
Yeah,
15 games.
right. He
But
he
that it
was
is a
hurt. There's still plenty of time for him. But surprisingly, Kyle Stowers has been really good.
mhm.
More than probably what the Marlins even expected. And so he is hitting 321, 6 home runs, 25 ribbies. And over the weekend, this is what made me think of it. He hit 2 home runs on Saturday, and then Wednesday or Thursday had 2 home runs. So
Mhm.
he's been on fire. Trevor Rogers, if you remember,
Great first name.
great first name, great first
Elite.
name. A good rookie season for the Marlins. It was actually an all-star in 2021. Since that time has been terribly inconsistent. I think he was dealing with some off-the-field issues. Hasn't necessarily righted the ship this year. So that one's looking like it's going to turn out really good for the Marlins. Yeah, and that's what made me think of this whole thing. So what do you think of this trade? And it's just probably going to get worse because Norby's probably going to be better, right?
Should be, you would think so. I don't have too many thoughts on Stowers. I think at this point you either believe in Stowers or you don't. I'm kind of indifferent, leaning towards not, just to be honest. Um,
I think
Connor
he's a
Norby,
plug him in for some power while he's hot.
yeah.
Surprised he's doing this well. Yeah.
Connor Norby, however, uh, I think we've talked in the past about my penchant for East Carolina alumni.
Yes.
Connor Norby, yep. The thing is, he was always a decent hitter through the minors. I mean, or he's always a good hitter through the minors, even. But so far, and again, we're talking a 15 game sample, but he's striking out 36% of the time. And that coincides with his, nearly 200 plate appearance sample last year, where he struck out 33% of the time, and under 2% walk rate. Again, small sample, injury
Mhm.
included this year. So you think he's going to turn around, but you still have to see more. Like, I believe that he can hit. He hasn't shown it at the big league level, and that's kind of a little bit worrisome to me. Um, and I went and looked this up because this is what I do. I remembered offhand that Trevor Rogers was a 13th overall pick, um, and that was back in 2017. Do you
Oh,
know?
boy. Here comes the quiz.
I could quiz you all day with this draft class. Do you know who was first overall that year?
2017.
We have
So
talked
that
about him on this exact podcast, this episode of this podcast. We have talked about him.
Oh, we have. Oh, interesting.
We've talked about
It's
one, two.
well, I know it's not Torkelson because he came after that. He was number 1 pick though, right?
He was, yes.
2020?
2020, 3 years after
20
this.
2017. Now I have to cheat and look at our list here again.
Oh, that is cheating. That's no fun.
Um.
We have
Oh,
talked
you know what? Was it Royce Lewis?
was Royce Lewis.
Yeah, there we go. I
We've
I mean I
also
kind of cheated, but
You did. We also talked about the 3rd overall pick that year. You got it. It's Mackenzie Gore. Good job.
oh, okay.
Um,
Thank you.
I want to keep quizzing you so bad. Like, who did the Diamondbacks take that year?
Man,
It was
2017.
Pavin Smith. We
Oh,
don't have time to keep for me to keep quizzing
he's
you, but
been
that
he's
was the
been
Pavin Smith
excellent.
year. I
Yeah.
know. I thought you'd like that. I
Yeah.
thought you would like that. The Tigers took Alex Faedo, in case anybody's wondering. Now,
Ouch.
For the trade that I want to talk about, I want to take a trip to your Diamondbacks, which is one of the reasons I brought up Pavin Smith because that makes for a nice little, you know, transition.
Yes.
Um, they traded at one point. They traded for Paul Sewald,
Mm-hmm.
and they traded Josh Rojas, Dominic Canzone, and Ryan Bliss. That is a very interesting trade to me, specifically for one of the players in the return package. But how do you feel about that trade as of right now?
Well, as of right now, yeah, it's interesting because Seawald sort of bombed out in Arizona last season,
Mhm.
but with some distance from the trade and knowing how well they did in the 2023 postseason, I would say it was still a good trade because they always have a penchant for having a bad bullpen. They needed some stability. Seawald came in. Was mostly stable and good and strong in the postseason before failing last season, but he did exactly what they needed. They needed another good bullpen arm, and he was able to do that. Um, Ryan Bliss, I know we talked about him and that he was sort of intriguing. Um, Unfortunately, now he's out for the rest of the season. So um, I I don't even think we can totally say it's complete till we see what he can do when he's healthy. But for what the Diamondbacks needed at that time, they needed help badly in the bullpen, and Seawold was pretty good.
Yeah, Ryan Bliss was the character that I was
I
super
figured
interested
he's the
in
one you're
drawing the trade.
interested in.
Because a couple reasons. Because one, he has the speed to be kind of a stat breaker fantasy wise.
Hmm.
If I mean, obviously, if he's healthy, you hate that he's out all year, but when he's healthy, he could just steal you a bunch of bases. And that is awesome. But
He would have fit on this Diamondbacks team with the
mhm,
speed, getting on base. Yeah,
yeah.
for sure.
But well, he probably wouldn't have a spot on this Diamondbacks team because they have 1.5 billion infielders. However, for the Mariners, having Ryan Bliss out for the year kind of it's almost detrimental because you're going to want to try to find a spot for him because his speed will help, and if he can hit the ball, that's going to be good. But he is not your second baseman of the future. That is Cole
True.
Young, who is in AAA right now, and Cole Young is
Yeah,
not
that's
Cole,
true.
Cole Young hasn't been hitting the best, but when he arrives, that's his job.
Hmm.
So with Ryan Bliss out for the year, that kind of really hurts your trade value in return because what are you going to do with Ryan Bliss? I mean, I'm sure you can find a spot for him, but do you really want? I don't know. I like Ryan Bliss. I was really hoping for a big year from him. He's a guy I talked about preseason quite a bit. So I don't know. That one turned out to be interesting for me, but I was more interested to hear. I just wanted to talk about Ryan Bliss again. I miss it.
Yeah, I mean, you could say it's still incomplete. Like I said, it's incomplete because I think he could do some good things still. And now Seawald's not even on the Diamondbacks, so it's sort of
Yeah,
like, does
could wind up to be a wash both
yeah,
ways.
right.
Honestly, we are going to take a quick timeout. When we come back, we're going to have time for a couple more trades. I know there's one more I for sure am going to bring up, but this is I don't know. This is still just a fun episode. I'm not going to get over that. You're listening to Coffee Talk on the Pitcherless Podcast Network. And welcome back to Coffee Talk on the Pitcher List Podcast Network. My name is Trevor Hooth. Nate Kosher's with me. We're talking trades, but not trades that are in fantasy, real life trades that happened in the past. We're hopping in the Wayback Machine. And so, Nate, again, I
We
believe we left
are.
it off with you picking the trade that you would want to talk about.
Yeah, this one is as you said, going back in the Wayback Machine because this is the earliest season we've talked about, which is 2022. Want to talk about one of my catchers, and that's Logan O'Hop. Is it Hoppy or Hop? I always have
I
said
think it's
Hop.
so hoppy.
Is it O'Hoppy?
Hmm.
All right. Well, um, he went to the Angels from the Phillies um, for Brandon Marsh. And if you remember Brandon Marsh, um, good hitter at that time. The Phillies trying to make a move, right? And I'm confusing my seasons. Did the Phillies go to the World Series that year?
Don't
Hmm.
remember.
I can't remember if it was that year or not. I want to say they
I
did.
can I can remember all the details of the Ozuna and Yelich's trades, but I don't remember if the Phillies went to the World Series that year.
I think they maybe did. But anyways, the point in saying this is Brandon Marsh after that trade was good the rest of the season in Philly. For the 2 seasons after that, he hit for let's see, he had 12 home runs in 2023, hit 277 with 10 stolen bases. 2024 last season, average dropped to 249, 16 home runs, 60 ribbies, and 19 stolen bases. So solid numbers, and he was good after that trade deadline. Now I need to see if they went to the World Series because I'm pretty sure that they did. Yes,
So
the
the question
Astros beat the
about that
Phillies.
trade then is what do you I mean, you're the catcher guy, so I will leave my opinions out of the matter, especially because my evaluation of prospect catchers is spotty at best. So, I mean, my or at least my track record is spotty at best. So, with major league catcher Logan O'Hoppe, where I mean, what do you think? Because the
Yeah,
deal hinges on what he becomes or what he is.
right. So he was good last season. That first year, 2022, I looked back and he only played in 5 games in the major leagues, so you can't really count that. 2023, he plays in 51 games, hits 236 with 14 home runs. But then last year kind of has a breakout. 20 home runs, 56 RBI, hits 244. So he's someone, and he started. I don't know if you remember last season. He started out really hot, got hurt, then came back toward the end of the year, struggled, and then was okay again toward the end. So it's kind of this up and down season. This year, though, he's hitting 276 with 9 home runs already and 15 ribbies. And the thing with him is he's sort of like a Cal Raleigh profile as a catcher. So a lot of power. He's going to hit for home runs. He's going to strike out a lot also. But he's pretty good as a catcher. And I think at this point, looking down the road, maybe the Phillies still won it because Marsh, gave them 2.5 solid seasons after
Mhm.
that trade. I don't think we know enough about what O'Hoppe could be. But I think the potential is there for the Angels still to win this trade. He's only 25 years old. He looks like a rotation piece, for the long term. Um, and he's almost halfway to his home runs last season in only 28 games. So
Mhm.
he's been hot and he's a good player. He hits the ball hard. He's, like I said, he strikes out a lot, but I think ultimately he could bump that one in the Angels' favor. There was a few other people involved, but those were the major pieces because uh, Noah Syndergaard was in that trade too, but he
Yeah.
he's just been hurt.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know how.
So, taking prospect evaluation out because I was never an Ohapi guy. I never bought into it. From a sitting here 2025 standpoint, my question to you, the catcher guy,
Hmm.
why Logan Ohapi when you could Shea Langoliers?
Yeah, you
I, I
mean
f- I
eh,
just
for
it's
at the
just
same level? Yeah.
similar-ish profiles. Langoliers is going to hit a lot of home runs. He's probably going to have some strike. He's going to have the strikeout problems. Langoliers will steal you, handful of bases, 4 or 5 maybe. But I don't know. I like Langoliers better personally than Ohapi.
No, I mean that's a good comparison. They're definitely similar players. I think Langoliers is maybe a little older, but they're if you look at rankings coming into the season, I think they were probably pretty close to one another as far as
Hmm.
rankings where you're going to vote or where you're going to draft them. Um, I think that Langoliers is a better defensive catcher also, so this hurts my argument. But uh, if you look at this year, Ohapi's next level sort of power analytics, his barrel percentage, he's in the 97th percentile, hard hit, exit velocity, all those are up, and currently better than Langlear's. But Langolier strikes out less, Hop strikes out more, and is not as good of a catcher behind the plate. So I guess it depends what league you're in, but you're right. I mean, they're pretty comparable from a
Mhm.
fantasy perspective.
Yeah, well, hey, catchers are hard. I'm
They are hard. They're
hoping
both.
Edgar Cuero turns out the way I think he's going to.
I will say both those guys in a one catcher league are starters.
Yeah, absolutely.
They're pretty good.
Mhm. Yeah, only
Not
one of them
top of the
starting for
line.
my team, though. So, Nate, I think we each have time. Let's bring up one more. The last
All
one I
right,
wanna talk
back to
about
you.
is I don't know, I think it's interesting. That's just me. 2022, the Twins acquire Jorge Lopez from the Orioles, and in return, the Orioles get Cade Povich, Juan Rojas, Juan Nunez, and Yenier Cano.
Yeah, that looking back, the Twins have been on the wrong side of quite a few of these trades, but um, I remember this because Lopez Lopez had been really good for the Orioles. He
Mhm,
had been an all-star the year before, and let me pull this up. He had a 168 ERA at the All-Star break and 19 saves. Okay. Then he gets traded to the Twins. The second half of the season, he only gets 4 saves and he has a 4.37 ERA.
mhm,
Uh, and he's not really good again until last season with the Cubs. His ERA was back down toward 2 as a setup reliever. But I really like Yenier Cano, and he's been he was really, as among setup men, one of the best in all of Major League Baseball um, over the last couple seasons, and probably could be a closer on some teams if wasn't with a different franchise. But over the past 2 seasons, he has 13 saves.
mhm.
Um, but he's got some good stuff, and you throw the rest of that uh,
I
trade
mean,
package,
Povich is in the majors.
right? Cade Povich, and
Here's
I
the
think
thing, and
the Twins probably lost that one. That's what I'm trying to say.
yes, but important to note, at least, from my memory, which doesn't necessarily mean much, Yennier Cano was not who he is now when he was traded. Like, no one's he kind of had a breakout. He kind of,
Yes, you're right.
elevated
He
himself.
he wasn't, and so I mean, you can probably defend that one historically. Like Lopez was really good, and the Twins were trying to make a push.
But this is why you look at trades as they are in the moment, then you can look back like we are right now. But I do just want you to imagine with me, if you will. Close your eyes if you have to, and just think about a Minnesota Twins bullpen with Yanier Cano, Griffin Jacks, and Joan Duran.
Yeah, that's fun. That's really fun.
That'd be crazy. That'd be insane,
Yeah, they shouldn't even have starters. Like, let's just roll those guys out for the
right?
whole game.
All right, there are several others that we could talk about. I mean, this is just the tip of the You should see how many trades we have on here that we are trying to pull from.
We have a long list.
I think there are 3 more that we should absolutely get to, and we're just not going to because I wanted to bring up trades that we didn't necessarily need to talk about. But Nate, close us out, pick one more trade,
Fair
and we are
enough,
going to
Trevor.
do a defend yourself in hindsight one more time.
Okay. Um, I'm gonna go back to actually maybe the only trade. Well,
I think I know
we
which one you're gonna
we could
pick.
we could argue. Uh, I will say the only trade involving a surefire Hall of Famer on
Yes,
our
I got it
list.
right. I got it right. Let's go.
um, and that is Mad Max Scherzer. And this trade happened in 2023.
I knew it.
Um, and so let's see. At the time, Scherzer was on the Texas Rangers.
Mhm.
He was traded to the Mets for.
Scherzer was on the Mets and traded to the Texas Rangers.
Sorry, yes, Scherzer's. I'm getting all confused because I'm so excited about this one.
I knew you were going to pick this one.
For Ronald Acuna's little brother, Luis Angel Acuna, who we thought, yeah, he's pretty good. He's not as good as Ronald, and he may not
Still
be,
is
but
not.
he's playing better though than I thought he was going to be. Like so far this season,
Mhm.
I'm surprised he's this good. And Max Scherzer is a big name. He's a Hall of Famer. The Mets, I think, shelled out, you know, tons of millions of dollars trying to build a team, and a
Yeah.
lot of the pieces were older. But that was a fun trade, and now I think Acuna is going to be something.
Yeah, he could be. Here's the thing with Acuna. With Jeff McNeil out, the Mets were using Acuna and Beatty to fill in at second base. And when Jeff McNeil came back, Beatty got optioned down. Acuna stayed, and not only stayed as a bench piece or anything, they basically have him as their second baseman, and Jeff McNeil is playing center field. Like, they believe in what they saw from Luis Angel Acuna. And he was never, I mean, he had prospect status. Obviously, his last name gave him some, and then he started to work and
Yeah,
become his own prospect. But he was never like a guy that everyone's like, oh, this is one of the top prospects. He's always just kind of done some things well, and he's doing them well right now at the big league level, which makes this very much interesting.
yeah, and Scherzer, I don't think he'll ever be completely healthy
Mhm,
the rest of his time. I don't know how much longer he's going to play, but Acuna's hitting 298, uh, 8 stolen bases, four, not a lot of power, four ribbies, but
mhm.
the speed and the hitting is more than I thought he was going to be.
I'd like to say when I said he didn't do anything well, I was just thinking about like prospect grades I'd seen on
Yes,
him. He has stolen like 40 bases in every season. So obviously he's fast and can steal bases. He does
his
that really well.
his hitting stats though weren't that great in the
Hmm.
minors, and
Hmm.
that's kind of where the surprise comes from for me
Yeah.
thus far.
Yeah, but it looks like he's every bit going to have at least some leash here to be a regular player for the Mets, which makes this a super interesting trade and probably a good one for the Mets at the time because I believe that was the year that they had both Verlander and Scherzer and traded both
Yeah,
Verlander and Scherzer, and
then they unloaded him. Yeah,
that also got them Drew Gilbert, I believe, and ooh, there's another prospect. Doesn't matter. I'm not going to spend time thinking about it, Nate, but that is a good trade to bring up. Who wins? Pick one.
I mean, you have to say the Mets won.
Yeah, probably. But I think the real winners are the friends we made along the way.
There we go. Can close it out with that.
Got to end on a good note, right? I love trades. More trades are going to be coming, but probably not, for a couple months. And we will talk about those trades when they happen. We're going to talk about our fantasy trades as they happen. But for right now, we appreciate you guys listening and bearing with us while we reminisced, brought nostalgia out for some old trades.
We did.
Hopefully none of them were too sad for you. Comment down trades that please comment back at us, trades you think we might have missed, or if you think a different side won, or whatever else, because that's part of the fun of this is debating the trades. So make sure to interact with us if you have thoughts about it. For now, though, Nate, we are going to wrap things up, and we will see you next week here on Coffee Talk. And of course, Coffee Talk is part of the Pitcher List Podcast Network.